Hey guys, and welcome to another session of the Nines. My name is Shawn Wood, and I am so honored that you would take just a moment to take 9 minutes out of your life to hear what's on my heart. And so I want to jump right in. If I could share with leaders all across the nation what's going on right now that I think would add value to what you're doing, it would be this: that in the church world today, we get the opportunity to work with a tribe of people that are some of the most underutilized, misunderstood folks in the world, and that is the creatives in our church organizations, whether it be volunteers or staff positions. And as we're working more and more in the modern church with creatives, I think there's some principles that we can learn that just basically help us to be able to create things that are of value to the kingdom, help us to deliver assets on time that will add value to our services, and most of all, they gain the most out of the strengths and of the creatives and the most out of what they were created and wired up to do. And as I think about the creatives on our teams, we oftentimes think of the creative team, but what I have learned over a series of really, really dumb mistakes is that the creative team is simply made up of the sum of individual parts. It's your team, your volunteers, all those people that are basically like gears that are working together. And if all the gears work in the right fashion together, then this team will produce something of extreme value and unbelievable work to the kingdom and to God. And it becomes literally worship at that point where the team just begins to produce this thing. But it's made up of these individual gears that have to work together. And so being a teaching pastor type of guy, I just thought in acronyms. And so I kind of thought through the mistakes I've made and some different things that I've done. And I've learned a few things, I hope, over the last 8 years that can help you and leading and managing creative people, whether you're an executive pastor, worship pastor, a senior pastor, or a staff member who just oversees volunteers that are creatives, whatever role you play, youth pastor as well, and you're having to work with creatives, that if you'll put these into practice in your life, that you'll see a much, much better product. The first thing is, in the acronym, is the G for gear, and that is guardrails. And if we were to draw up here, guardrails allow us to know where it is for the creative that our freedom exists. What are the time guardrails that we have? What is the budget guardrails that we have? So do we have this much money to spend or this much money to spend? Do we have this much time, so plenty of time, or is it a kind of a short amount of time that we need to put into it? And as the leader, we set these guardrails so that the creatives know where to start. Oftentimes we're guilty, I know, of managing creatives and going, hey, we want this creative thing, we want this asset delivered, and we don't give a budget or a financial budget or a resource time budget. And both of those are limited resource. There's scarcity to both of those. And so we have to set guardrails that say, this is how long this is going to take, and this is how much time we can put into it, this is how much money. And guardrails will help your creatives tremendously. The E is expectations. When we get to the end of this journey together up here and we've got this product, what is expected? What is going to happen at the end, and clear expectations from the leader's standpoint. How often have you gotten to the end of a project, your creatives deliver something to you that you think is what you've asked for, but when you see it, you go, this isn't it. This isn't what I thought I was going to get. Most likely that falls on the leader who didn't communicate well what the expectation was to that creative of what you needed, and what you needed to make the service happen, or what you needed to make the marketing plan happen, or the video, whatever it is coming together, that there's a clear expectation. One of the things that we try to do is to make sure that we know the end result in what we're trying to create. And then the A in the gear is accountability. We have to have accountability. And the ways that we do that is in, again, time. What is the deadline for this project? When does it have to be done? And there's got to be some accountability, some expectations set about when that deadline is, but then some accountability as well to that. And then one of the questions that my team will hear me ask a lot is, who does what by when? That comes into expectations. It helps set guardrails, but most of all, the who part of that lets me know and what we're going to do by when, so that there is a deadline. One of the beefs about creatives is that, they're so creative that we can't meet deadlines, and we can't show up to work on time or at a certain time, or we can't be expected to produce this much. And this create-on-demand culture that church 52 weeks a year produces is just too much stress for creatives. But it's not the truth. Creatives were wired up just like everyone else, that if we know the expectations and we have guardrails in place to help us, we can be held accountable to those deadlines. And then the last thing is the R, is review. We review not to fix necessarily things of the past, because that can't be done, but we review to help us be more creative and more effective in the future. And so we're constantly got to go back with creative teams and go, let's review and see if we met those expectations. Let's see where maybe you stepped outside of the guardrails a little bit, and that's what caused us some problems. Or, hey, let's have some time where we're going to be held accountable for some things that we didn't meet and some deadlines we didn't meet, and we're going to find ways to fix that. And part of the accountability is going to be some more guardrails. Sometimes the best accountability is to tighten the guardrails and to give less freedom. Sometimes the best win that you can give to a creative is go, man, you nailed this, so we're going to widen the guardrails of your freedom, and you're going to be able to really express yourself even more because you've done such a great job meeting deadlines. As we review, we're able to do that. I believe that if we'll put these things into practice with our creatives, if we will figure out their strengths and their weaknesses and give them opportunities to grow and not allow their threats to bring them down in their lives, that we will see unbelievable stuff, masterpieces created as worship unto God. And so I hope that this 9 minutes will help you to do that with the creatives in your life, and that you will find it valuable and what's on my heart right now. And it was an honor that you would take 9 minutes of your time, and I hope that it helps you be a better leader tomorrow because of it. And so I know the rest of the sessions are going to be great, and the previous ones have been wonderful. So I'll see you on the chat and with the nines. Thanks for tuning in.